We are out in the garden this morning. It is time to harvest, so let's go through and start picking some peppers. Peppers and tomatoes are done. I still have to go to the other side of the garden and check for cucumbers, maybe green beans, see if any more has came in yet. It's almost 9 o'clock and I am already really sweaty. I got a sweat stash. Here is one of my cucumber patches. As you can see, it is super weedy. I have not been out to weed any of these beds in quite some time now, and like I already mentioned, I'm pretty darn hot and sweaty already, and I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it this summer, but it's clearly still thriving. Let's go dig through it and see what I can find. I can already see one right here. This is another reason why I wear long sleeves out in the garden, because this will make me so incredibly itchy digging through these cucumber leaves and all the vines trying to uncover them. All right, let's get it. Ugh. Now, I'm gonna do one more sweep, because just like the tomatoes, I swear you can walk by, you can dig through all these leaves, and you'll still miss something. So I'm gonna do one more little walkthrough, make sure I got any of them that are ready, and I'll do a big batch of like pickles or relish, or maybe we'll just eat on them through the week. My garden season is really kicking up right now, meaning all of my tomatoes, everything's pretty much going crazy. The peppers have been going good for a while, but I'm right at the stage where I'm going to be overflowing with a lot of things. And I will probably have to do more harvest. I have been doing harvest only once a week, but the way that my tomato plants are looking right now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to come out every day to harvest, which is fine. It's nice to come out and spend some extra time in the garden. See, I found a few more good ones on my second run, and I also found some that I clearly did not see last week. These are probably edible, like it won't make you sick edible, but they won't taste good. So these are going into the animal bucket. I always bring 2 buckets with me when I harvest my garden, one for the animals and one for me inside. It limits me having to bring the bad produce out later. I can just give it to them right now. I'm just sorting through it now instead of later, and it saves me a little bit of time. On to the next one. For this one, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm just gonna go up and down on both sides looking for cucumbers, and I will just set them out as I go and pick them all up when I'm done. Okay, this is what I got from this cucumber patch. Not too terribly much. These are fun. These are called Indian snake cucumber. I got them off of Baker's Creek Seeds, or whatever that website is called. I believe, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. They're Armenian cucumbers. They smell and taste pretty much just like regular cucumbers, but they can get up to like 4 feet long. Now, I haven't let them get that big yet. I might try to test one out just for funsies to see if I can grow a cucumber as tall as me. But they get really seedy. I'll cut into one and I'll show you, but there's not as much flesh, I feel like, compared to a regular cucumber. Maybe it's just me because I'm used to the regular ones, but they're fun to grow. Okay, got a handful of green beans that'll probably just end up going into my stir fry for lunch. Okie doke, there you have it. There is my harvest for the day. I will see you in the kitchen when we decide how we're going to preserve it all. Okay, we are in the kitchen. It is hours later. It is actually the evening now. It's almost dinner time, but I got all of this produce washed, and now I need to decide what I'm going to do with it. So first things first, as I'm taking care of the cucumbers, you want to, if you're going to can cucumbers, you want to make sure that you're using them as fresh as possible. We're going to cut off these blossom ends, and then I'm just going to stuff my jars, try to make sure they are as close to the same size as possible. I am just doing spears right now. That was loud. I haven't done any spears yet this year. And then we will get those in the canner. I don't have a lot of time tonight, so a lot of this stuff is probably going to end up in the freezer. I will just, like the tomatoes will get cored and I'll put them in a bag, so when I have time to make a big batch of tomato sauce, I'll do that. All the peppers will get sliced up and put in the freezer, and I might do something with the jalapenos. I have not decided yet. I have all of my jars completely stuffed full. Like, I cannot fit any more in there. I have my brine right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's all nice and ready. I'm going to go ahead and wash my lids and rings now so they are ready. And for all of you counters out there, tell me, how do you store your rings? Mine are just sitting like this on a string in my pantry. I'm gonna go ahead and fill all of these with the brine, and I will let you guys know that I cheated. I have a pack of these that I bought off of Amazon in my pantry just for days like this when I know I'm super busy and I have a lot of stuff that I need to get on my shelf, or at least in the freezer, preserve somehow so it doesn't go bad. And so I keep these for days like this to make it a little bit easier so that I can just get it done. It's one less thing to do, to gather all the ingredients and measure everything out. It's just a dump and go. It's really easy. And then I also have this extra crunch. I've never tried it before. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try and see if it gives my pickles just a little bit of extra crunch. Let's go ahead and fill these jars. I already have my canner going, warming up behind me. My brine is still warm, so we will just make sure that it's not like a roiling boil, because my brine is no longer boiling. Like, I can touch the side here. You don't want to break the jars. If you do cold jars, cold liquid, your canner liquid needs to be cold as well. And same thing if it's hot brine, it needs to go into a hot canner, or your jars will break and you will ruin your food and pretty much have to start all over to pick out the glass and stuff, and no one wants to do that. Now, I am no expert on canning. I'm not exactly a novice either, but I am supposed to be at a 1/2 inch headspace. Some of these, like this one, is cutting it a little close. Let me see if I can show you this. So you put this on the edge of your jar and it kind of gives you an idea of headspace. So I'm at this second one here. I'm actually I'm right at the half. That one has enough. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the end. You just need a little poker. You just wanna make sure there's no air bubbles in there. If you have too much trapped air in here, when you start to can, you can also have a chance of a glass exploding from having the trapped air. So we're gonna remove all the air bubbles, and then I'm gonna go through and wipe all the rims and wipe all the rims with vinegar, and then I'll put on my lids and jars, and into the canner they go. See what I was doing?
Yeah, stop licking me. Go. Ow.
Okie doke. Those are all in there. You want to make sure that the jars are not touching, so that way when they start to boil, the jars are going to start kind of wiggling back and forth, and you don't want them popping into another one. You can also have the jars break in your canner that way. And I'm water bath canning these. I'll set a timer for 15 minutes when the water starts boiling. And I added a little bit of water to the canner because I didn't have quite enough in there. You want almost an inch of water above the lids to ensure the whole can is submerged during the whole 15 minutes of boiling, because obviously water evaporates as it's boiling. It's going to dissipate, and you want to make sure that your jars continue to stay under the correct conditions, so that you don't want anything to end up being spoiled, right? The point of canning these for a certain amount of time all depends on the density of the food, because the heat needs to penetrate through the food. So if you have part of your jars that are uncovered, the amount of heat is not going to be the same all the way around your jars and all the way through, and that's when you have a chance of bacteria living inside of your jars and then onto your pantry shelves. I still have all of these after cutting those up and doing those pickling spears, so I will probably end up taking these to work and giving them away tomorrow. I will keep one or two for home for us to snack on throughout the week with dinners and whatnot. But I did tell you that I would, I would cut into one of these and show you what it looked like, so let's do that. See, you know, this one actually isn't too bad. Maybe it's just when they get real big, they get seedy. But this one's not too terribly long. I mean, that's not too bad for seeds. Guess I'm keeping this one now. While I'm waiting for my water bath canner to be done whipping out those cucumbers, I'm gonna go ahead and start on these tomatoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to freeze them. I don't have time to make a sauce right now, and I like to do really big batches anyways. So what I'll go through and do is make sure I cut all of these off. I try my best to sort them all outside, but I do miss them. So I'll cut off anything that's bad, and then I'm going to core them. I'm not really worried about cutting them, quartering them, or doing anything right now. I'm just trying to get them in the freezer so they're good for later. When I do pull them out of the freezer, it makes it so incredibly easy to peel the skins off if I want to for that recipe. So let's do that. Okay, got 2 bags of tomatoes. Those will go into the freezer, and then when I have time, I'll do a big old batch of tomato sauce, salsas maybe. Anyways, we're on to the sweet peppers now. One of my goals this year is to preserve enough sweet peppers for the rest of the year. I use sweet peppers in almost every single meal prep dish I do for my lunches. And so all I'm doing is slicing them up and freezing them. I'm not blanching them. I don't really need to. They're all gonna get cooked down anyways when I go to pull them out of the freezer. And they typically do pretty well without blanching anyways. I'm just gonna put them all into this giant bowl, and then I will vacuum seal them after. All of the sweet peppers are sliced up. I'm going to portion them out into like 2 cup-ish per bag. Try to make them as flat as possible so that way they stack really nicely in the freezer. And then as you can see, my pickles are done. And I also put all of my jalapenos, all of the cayenne, and all of these Anaheim peppers in bags. I do not have time to do anything with these right now. So just like the tomatoes, all of these are going to go into the freezer, and then I can add them to salsas or whatever sauces that I make later. I'm just getting into full swing for my tomato harvest, so I'll be able to make tons of salsas, maybe some different kinds of hot sauces. I found a really good recipe for a jalapeno salsa that I might try. So these are actually going to go in the fridge, and then maybe later this week I will make that, because that sounds yummy. So I am just about done putting everything away. Oh, I can hear the tinky. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the freezer packs, and then the only thing I have left is this handful of basil. After I sorted through the leaves and stuff, a lot of them had a lot of different spots, so I'm just gonna give them to the chickens. I didn't show you guys at the beginning. I have this whole bucket here that I've been throwing all of my veggie scraps into, and this is going to go to my birds. So whatever basil that is in here that I did not want to harvest will just get put in there. I have so many basil plants, I'm really not worried about it, but I will also show you what I'm doing with this. This is what I have been doing with my basil. I am just using these little silicone ice cube trays. I could use bigger ones if I wanted to, but this is about 2 tablespoons if I remember correctly. So all I'm doing, you can see a little bit, that pink is sea salt. So what I've been doing is putting a little bit of sea salt in each of the cubes, and then I am cutting up the basil and putting it into the cubes and adding melted butter over it. And then after it is all frozen, I am adding it to my little jar here, as you can see, and then it just makes it kind of easy for me to pull out for cooking. I can just pop one in when I'm doing steak, or for breadsticks or potatoes or rice. Like, pretty much, it's pretty versatile. Anything that I want to use butter in with a little bit of basil and salt, it's just ready to go. And so that's what I will be doing with the basil, and then I will be good to go. Well, as you can see, I have plenty to work with, to go in the freezer, to put on my shelves, and to work with later. I got lots of plans, lots of batches and recipes that I want to try out this year. If there's something down below that you guys think I should try, put it down there. I'll give it a swing. Until next time, thank y'all for watching.